What's going on, Victor Bang? Good morning. Good morning. This is
Morning, morning.
I tried to log into live. I don't think it's live though. But anyway, welcome to the We Are One podcast. Got an interesting glitch happened to me yesterday, and I was just talking to MJ about it as he was driving into work. So this is what I'm referencing. This is a remote, some kind of a fan remote that appeared yesterday. It doesn't go to anything. I've been in this house for a year and a half. That remote doesn't belong to nothing in this house. But what's more interesting, as we're talking about this, is that it actually is on the counter. It was on the counter yesterday, and when I walked in, I immediately saw it, and I was like, "What the hell? What is this?" Like this didn't. We've been here a year and a half. Like I said, this was a model home. That fan most definitely is not one of these remotes. Um, it was not in the previous home that I owned, for sure. And so it just appeared. And so MJ, what were you saying before about that?
No, I was just saying that it could be a potential, like we talk about Mandela effects and alternate realities, parallel realities, multiverse, things of that nature. Then, so the Mandela effects are the big changes in reality that are noticed, but it could happen on a small scale. And your example could be like a reality where that remote was always on the dresser and you popped into that reality and you came from a reality where you never had the remote, right? So that could have been a physical Mandela effect that you experienced, that you know the difference, that is personal to you. That just shows that, maybe you switched to a new reality.
Yeah, so I just watched the Quantum Businessman. He did a podcast. I don't know how many days ago, but anyway, he had on John Charles, who was at the conference, and he did some teleporting in his life with the secret space program. But he teleported, and he has proof. And he did a movie. So yeah, I watched that actually after this yesterday because I was like, something changed. And you're right, MJ. I went to the same mindset of another reality, but what I went to was I took it two steps back. Okay, so I was thinking it's possible that this remote um, belonged to someone in this house that wasn't me in another reality. So the way that some of y'all don't know, but the way that I moved to Georgia is very interesting. I was actually just trying to break pattern, as crazy as that sounds, but breaking pattern, changing the stimulation, the observer effect, going into different realities is very pertinent here because this is a place that I was, in my opinion, not supposed to be. I wasn't supposed to be living here. So my mind went there. Like, whose remote is this? Is it possible that's residue from another reality that it wasn't me living here? I'm still living in Tampa. The way that I got pulled into Savannah was through my wife's job, but honestly, we didn't have to move. I just felt like I wanted to break pattern and do something. So when she got an offer, I was like, let's go. Let's explore that option. Let's just go. I sold a trademark and fell into some cash, which is a whole nother manifestation situation video of how that came about. But in my opinion, I'm not supposed to be here in this house. That's how I looked at it when I saw that remote. Like this ain't my remote. I'm not sure whose remote it is. It surely is not mine. It surely is not in this house. And the fact that it's sitting in my kitchen, like a little area where the wine section and liquor section is, beside the kitchen, is just it's just weird. So it's definitely a glitch in something, in reality, in the matrix, in something going on that I can't put my finger on. Obviously, I probably will never be able to do it. When I asked my wife, whose remote is this? She's like, I don't know. So we had two cleaning ladies here yesterday, and they were straightening stuff up. So I asked her, I'm like, can you text this lady and ask her if she found this remote? Like, where was it? Did she put it out? because the kitchen and the area was straightened up. So it's quite possible, that she straightened it up and found it somewhere. That's the only thing I could think of. The only dots that are connecting. But the fact that it doesn't belong to this house, when I asked my wife, I said, can you ask her where the remote came from? She's like, what do you think, she left it? I'm like, no, I know she didn't leave it. Like, that's not what I'm asking. Just, can you just find out? Can we cross that off the list? I know it's not the situation that it is, but I want to be able to cross that off, because this thing is sitting out like it's always been there, and it's definitely most definitely never been there before yesterday. So I guess I have to stay tuned to see what she says. But I'm quite sure that when cleaning ladies come to your house, they don't bring remotes and put them in somebody else's house. But what do I know? I'm just a reality researcher, and this is my reality show. This is my Truman Show.
That's real there.
So anyway, wanted to bring y'all a quick video just to show y'all that stuff's going on and stuff is happening. Pay attention for stuff in your lives that may be similar to this. If you do, drop a comment. Make sure y'all try to like and subscribe to this, because I got a bunch more individual videos I'm gonna be putting out in the next week or two. So, MJ, any last closing comments about this situation?
Nah, I think that happens probably more than people realize. And, small things. I mean, I've had situations where things have disappeared and it's unexplainable, right? Or things, just come out of nowhere. It doesn't happen often, but I would just, like you say, just if you pay attention, you may notice these quote unquote glitches in your reality.
Yep. Well said. Well said. All right, man. I appreciate you jumping on and giving me your insights. I'm talking to myself, looking like I'm crazy out here. My wife already is probably looking like, what's he talking about again? But she ain't got no explanation for it, So I may be crazy, but where that remote came from, I don't even know. Anyway,
I do have a quick question for you though.
Yep.
Just, I'm just wondering if I think there's a meaning, there's a deeper meaning to the remote. So just don't glance over it as, it's a glitch. Look at it as also information, potentially a message. Yeah. What is it? What does it mean? What does it tell me? How do you feel about it? So it's like a seed that you can unpack, that you can, who knows what's in there, right? Because it's obviously it's there for a reason, a meaning, right? Because it's purposely there, because it wasn't there before, and it was done on purpose to make you make a video about it. So it's got your attention. So is there more to it?
Yeah. So speaking of those messages, the last real message I got was that wheel looking thing that was in my window, fogged in my window. So I switched my cars. I charged the other one today or last night, and left the new one, the one with the message, that wheel in the window. I left that one outside, and it was, it's in the 50s in the morning. So I got in the car this morning. I took that one out, and it was fogged up. So I don't know if y'all can see this, but this is now the window, right, of the window that had the message in it. As you can see, there's nothing in there. There's no triangle. There's no wheel. There's no nothing. So that message is now gone completely. And even though it was coming from inside of the window, when I first noticed it, I had already rolled the window down a couple times to get the fog off of the window the first time. So then that wheel appeared and stayed for a couple times, a couple days, but now it's now gone completely too. So as you're speaking about messages, I just, jogged my memory about this morning about that car. Yeah, so I don't know, man. I believe you're right. I believe it's a message. I guess I'll have to think on it and try to tap into what that message could be.
Just now, there's a 5-minute conversation that can go into the complexity of what that message could mean, just from you grabbing the remote and looking at it and really just imagining that is a message. It's a physical manifestation of a message, but it's also a puzzle that requires your attention to uncode, if you will. Because like the question, does it have batteries? What kind of fan does it go to? What model fan? You know,
Hold on
how
one
does that
second.
fan look? Have you had that fan?
Yeah, so here's the actual remote. I don't know if it has batteries or not has batteries in it, but yeah, it does have a battery in it.
Okay, so that's good. That's good. It's functional. So
Yeah, the
you know
light
if,
comes
if,
on.
if it didn't have a battery, light comes on. So it's working. So you're communicating to something.
Yeah,
You're
maybe I
sending a
should look
message
at how
to
to do
somewhere.
Morse code or SOS signals. I don't
No,
know.
but I think but if you I just look at this like reading the matrix, right? So you just got a glitch in the matrix. So okay, what does that mean? You know, let's try to unpack it. So I look at it as two ways in just general. This is your situation. Your way is going to be definitely the right way. I'm just giving you how I look at it. It would have been a different scenario if the battery wasn't in there. It was a whole different set of
Hmm.
messages like it
That's
doesn't
true.
work. It's not functional.
That's
Okay,
true.
now
Yeah.
this does work.
Yeah.
Yeah, the battery is in there, like it is charged, and I can press the button and it comes on. Like, oh, this is a working remote. That's a whole different than just a trash remote. Like, so this works to a
Right.
fan.
And
You
and
know, this
and
way it
and
works.
more importantly, it's not a new remote. So if it was a new remote, the battery wouldn't be in there. So the fan's functional somewhere. Maybe in another
Mhm.
dimension, somebody's fans acting like a
Right, right,
ghost.
right,
Right. You know.
right, right. Yeah, yeah. Maybe Ken in another dimension lost his remote, and or maybe because if you when you think about multiverse and infinite, I mean, anything you can think of has to exist in infinity, right? Even if it's just a thought form, it exists just because you created it just then. It may not be as solid as this reality because we're all concentrated on it, so we create this. But our dream world exists even if it's just in the dream. It exists for that moment. But let's say a reality that exists just like yours, everything is exactly the same, except you have a different fan in one of your rooms,
Yeah.
and that can put that remote down, and next thing you know, it just pops into this reality. And the only difference is the fan you have or whatever. Just
Yeah.
crazy stuff like that.
Yep, yep. I mean, it's possible. What I started thinking of this morning too, when I was dropping my son off at school, we had to go to Walmart because he had some performance today for school, and he wanted a little tie. So we went to Walmart before I dropped him off, and he's looking at the clouds. And I'll circle back to what how that relates to it. But he's got his phone out and he's looking at the clouds and he's like, "Daddy, look at these clouds. These clouds are crazy. These clouds are weird. Look like waves." And they did look like they look like waves, in an ocean in the clouds. And he grabbed his phone, and I didn't tell him to do this. He's like, "Hey, look at this, y'all. Look at this these waves lit in the clouds. They're looking crazy." Like he's talking on YouTube, like how I'm talking to you
Hmm.
right now, trying to document this
Uh,
stuff. And he's documenting, and I'm not telling him to do none of this. Um, so to circle back about him, it seems like he's woken up in the past like 2 months. Like he's starting to like notice stuff like clouds and airplanes spraying, and he's like, "I know how clouds are made, Daddy." And I'm like, "How are clouds made?" He's like, "The airplanes and spraying the clouds and making the clouds in the sky." So like he's starting to catch on to what I'm saying, but I'm not talking to him. I'm just saying it on
yeah.
this or whatever. Anyway, so the only room in this entire house that doesn't have a fan is his room. So how that relates,
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe he's time jumped. Uh, maybe there's a different consciousness that came into his body now that wants to experiment. Him being 7 years old, I don't know. Maybe this is him. Maybe he brought the fan remote. I don't
So
know.
so so his room is the only room in the house with a fan.
And the whole house doesn't have a fan. Yeah, yeah.
Doesn't have a fan.
Does not have a fan. My wife wants to
Okay.
change it out because he's got some. I mean, I can show you a picture of. Hang tight one second. I'm gonna take a picture of his room and show you what's in there. One second.
I don't know if y'all can see that, but driving in, that's what you see on the road here in rural Tennessee.
So that's his light fixture in
Okay.
his room, which is not meant for. I mean, I don't think it's meant for a kid, but it was a kid's room, but again, this was a model home, so nobody actually lived in this house. So this isn't from some other, you know, fan from 20 years ago. His house is only a couple years old. Anyway, so his room is the only room that doesn't have a fan. So you're right. It could be a message. I was watching the Quantum Businessman, and John Charles has teleported and brought back items from places that he went in his quote unquote dreams, or his dream state, that he said was real, and he came back and he proved it. His dad took a picture of a rock when he went to another planet, and he woke up with sand on his feet in the morning from him standing in a river, like on a beach area. So he brought back a bottle that was in his knapsack that he quote unquote, people say he dreamed, but he says he was there, and he brought back physically red water from another planet and a crystal. So maybe this is my son bringing home a crystal, quote unquote, a crystal from the future. And maybe one day I'm going to have a fan in one of my houses, and it's going to look like this. You know, that's possible. You know, and I might lose like Interstellar. I might lose that remote. Like, where's the remote? I lost it, but I didn't lose it. It's just gone.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. You can't dream this shit up.
Yeah, I'm sure there's deeper meaning to it, so I'm sure it'll fit in somewhere. Have you asked your son about it?
No, I didn't. No, I haven't asked him about it. No, I might ask him about it today and see what he says.
I'd be curious to hear what he says.
I'd be curious to see if when we're 65 years old in 20 years or whatever it is, if we haven't looked back upon this like, you remember that remote? You remember that remote? Guess what kind of fan I got installed in the house that I just bought? This shit is damn remote. And now my remote disappeared. That's going to be crazy. That's going to be some real interstellar shit. So
I don't know. 20 years from now, we probably don't have remotes like that, man. In my mind, 20 years from now, 20 years from now, the way technology's going, I don't see many remotes for stuff like that anymore.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't know. What's also weird is I hit the StreamYard live. I mean, I hit the live button to go live, and I don't think it's live. So I don't know. Maybe I wasn't supposed to go live, but I'm gonna repost this like immediately. See if anybody can put a comment to that.
Yeah, I'd be curious to hear if your son says anything, if he has any ideas about it. Just, you know, I would be curious to just ask him what theories he has, you know, because a child's imagination is, they have a lot of insight as well.
Yeah, I was trying to think, like, you know, I've been awake since 2018, 2019 area. So like I was thinking, okay, it's been 4 years for me. He's almost 8. So did he wake? Because he started to ask those questions about, you know, being conscious and you know, the things questioning his reality a little bit, right? So I'm like, okay, so maybe he woke up when he was 4, and it took him this amount of time to catch up, like to start questioning things, because it took me 4 years to get here. So anyway, I was just thinking, in terms of that, is there some kind of a similar timeline? Because I really believe that your memories are stored in your DNA. I have a whole nother thing to talk about with that too, with transhumanism and AI, and that's going to be a theory that I have that kind of came to me a couple days ago, of what's called the singularity and what that actually is. So I'm going to talk about what the singularity is in a talk with you and Chad, probably hopefully soon, because I've been sitting on it for a minute, and I don't know how these things just kind of get downloaded to me, but yeah, I think I know what the singularity is and how it relates to transhumanism and AI and stuff, which I've never heard anybody talk about this way. But anyway, I don't want to ramble on about a future show coming up, but stay tuned for that one, because that one's coming.
Okay. Yeah, sounds interesting. Man. Yeah, I've been hearing, not been hearing. I've seen a couple articles mentioning AI just real quick on the, I guess one of the head guys at Google that resigned.
Yep.
and is blowing the whistle on AI. So it's interesting just seeing that in the news now. So
Yeah, the
it's there.
Indinker codes and the web browser codes. I have all the information that relates to all that stuff and what the internet actually is. Um, I don't know, man. I think it is what it is. I can't say that it is for sure. What I'm saying that it's going to be, but um, it's definitely a theory that I think links a lot of stuff together. So
Okay.
anyway, we'll catch back up. Have a good day, man. I appreciate you tuning in.
All righty, man.
Logging
Take it
on.
easy now.
All right, y'all. Thanks for watching the We Are One podcast. Stay tuned for the transhumanism singularity conversation. It's coming. Peace.